All right, everybody. Settle down. Welcome back to the 2020 election class. I'm your teacher, former President Barack Obama. Today we are going to talk about how a woman should be our nominee for president in 2020, okay? But first, let's take roll call. Joe Biden. I'm here, sir. I also got you an apple. It has a very special message on it. Oh, yes, Joe, thank you. It means a lot. Pete Buttigieg. Is Pete here today? Well, it doesn't look like it. Okay, Mike Bloomberg. Is, Mike here today? No? Well, that's weird. Well, I just saw an ad for him coming in. Anyway, moving right along. Amy Klobuchar. Is Amy here today? Seriously? She's the one with all the binders. Okay. What about Tom Steyer? Is Tom Steyer here today? No? What is this? Do I have the wrong list? Are they all sick with the coronavirus? It's just absolutely crazy that none of the students are here today. I don't know, sir, but the last time I saw all of them, they were trying to give me money and they all dropped out. No. That can't be. Elizabeth Warren is a perfect student. She has to be here. Is she? Please tell me she is. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely terrible. That means that it is Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. I am here and I am ready to win and destroy Joe Biden, who is run by millionaires and billionaires. Oh man, this is going to be rough. Sharpen your pencils, boys. We have a lot to go over when one of you has to face off against Donald Trump. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here, back, once again, with our very 17th episode of the Dockery Docket, which I am very, very excited about because we have a lot to go over this week. There's been a lot of stuff going on for this whole entire week, so we are going to cover all of it, okay? We're going to cover all of it, and hopefully President Barack Obama will be able to get his class all in order, which is what we talked about in the very beginning with that little short. I hope that you're enjoying those little shorts, and if you are, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, maybe leave a comment, I don't know, but make sure to tell your friends about the Dockery Docket because we are growing super duper strong, okay? So, we are going to dive right into the news. As I already said, this week was absolutely crazy, but it was also very exciting too, as well. So, last Tuesday, we had Super Tuesday. Woo! Super Tuesday! It was very super, very exciting. Which is when a bunch of delegates are in play for these political candidates. I'm talking 15 states with a wide range of delegates. It is a total of 1,357 delegates that can be split up between the candidates. Now, just doing some research on this, I discovered that all the Democratic primaries are proportional, which I thought was very, very interesting. And if a candidate gets over 15% of the vote, then they get a percentage of the delegates. This means that all of these delegates could have been won by any one of the 7 candidates, which could cause some drama at the convention, as there could be a brokered convention, which means that no one has the amount of delegates that they need to win the majority, which the whole broken convention thing will be a lot of drama, and it will be very exciting to see if that actually happens. I actually really hope that it happens. However, there was more drama that happened, as after South Carolina primary, do we remember that? We talked about that last week. Did you watch last week's episode? It was fantastic. But anyway, after South Carolina, Tom Steyer dropped out, wasting money yet again on a failed campaign. And he backed Joe Biden. Now, this wasn't very shocking at all. as he did absolutely terrible in South Carolina. He had that whole little dance routine that he did, and it was just bad, okay? It wasn't good. It was bad. After that whole dancing spell that he did, he needed to drop out. After Tom Steyer dropped out, I said, okay, that makes sense. Maybe he'll be the only one that drops out this week. But to my surprise and to my shock, more people decided to drop out as Pete Buttigieg dropped out of the race and is starting to put his support behind Biden. As the day that Mayor Pete dropped out, he got on an airplane and went down to Texas where Joe Biden was doing a special rally. And there he sort of endorsed Joe Biden and said, hey, I support you, Joe, and all this stuff. And everyone was all like, woo, hooray for Pete. There's a lot of rumors going around about this, what happened, behind the scenes. And a lot of people are saying that the Joe Biden campaign called the Pete Buttigieg campaign and said, hey, if you want Pete Buttigieg to get a job in the White House, in the Joe Biden White House, when he wins the presidential contest, which he won't, then we'll give you a cabinet position. We'll make you the ambassador to Argentina, okay? Do you want to do that? And Pete Buttigieg was like, well, I'm in South Bend, Indiana, with no one here, so might as well. So now Pete Buttigieg and Tom Steyer are both on Joe Biden's wagon. Along with this whole, cell phone conversation between the campaigns could have happened with Amy Klobuchar's campaign as well. As on Monday, Amy Klobuchar dropped out of the race, and now she is supporting Joe Biden. This was huge for Joe Biden, as now the only moderate candidate standing in Biden's way is Bloomberg, who is starting to flip-flop, as we have seen in these multitude of debates that we've been talking about. Along with that, Beto O'Rourke came out and endorsed Joe Biden as well, which Joe Biden was in his home state of Texas, so he was like, I'm going to get out of my car now and I'm going to go and support Joe Biden. And Joe Biden also said that Beto O'Rourke was going to be in charge of, quote, the guns in our country when Joe Biden is, quote, elected, which is very, very scary to think about. And we are starting to see the Democrats and the Democratic establishment come together and try to beat Bernie. The moderates saw the writing on the wall, and they knew that they couldn't win enough delegates to be their nominee, to be the Democratic nominee. So they decided to drop out, and they all have the same goal: beat Bernie Sanders. And I don't blame them for this. I think this is a great tactic for the Democrats. You can see that the Democratic Party is very much in control of who they nominate. I think the Democratic Party did call Amy Klobuchar. I think the Democratic Party did call Pete Buttigieg and tell them both, hey, you need to drop out, because if you want to have a high-ranking socialist on the top of the ticket, you need to drop out, and you need to support Joe Biden and give him some more momentum. And so this has left the more radical side of the Democratic Party to sort of just be Bernie Sanders, as Bernie Sanders has isolated himself from the rest of the crowd. He has drawn lines in the sand, and he has said, if you don't believe in Medicare for all, then don't endorse me at all. And this is for the candidates. This isn't for the voters, because the voters who vote for Bernie Sanders are behind this. So it seems that Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, who are the more radical sides of the party, are on a raft trying to promote this radical agenda. Then, on Thursday, after Super Tuesday, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I want to talk about this. This is very important. Elizabeth Warren dropped out. Now, I was shocked by this, because she gets her no-quit style attitude from her Native American heritage. Think about it, okay? Can you just think about it just for a second? Did Pocahontas give up when her father said that she couldn't date John Smith? Did she let John Smith die in that Pocahontas cartoon movie? No, she jumped right in front of him and saved him from certain death. Now, what would have happened if Sacagawea would have given up? Do you think that we would have discovered all of America if Sacagawea would have given up? No, we wouldn't have, because no one would have been brave enough to do it. So it's all about Elizabeth Warren's Native American heritage. Now she's done, and I'm very upset about it. Because she's gone, there are now no women and no people of color running for president, except for Tulsi Gabbard, who apparently no one cares about. She's like in the back of the room saying, hey guys, come look at me. And the Democratic establishment is like, no, shut up. But anyway, Elizabeth Warren dropped out, and now she doesn't know who she's going to endorse. She's saying, maybe I'll go Biden, maybe I'll go Bernie. I think she's playing this very strategic. She's waiting it out to the very final point to endorse someone, so then she gets the right nominee, so then she can be on their ticket. I think she wants to be the vice presidential nominee. Now, this makes sense to me. I don't know if it'll make sense to you, but a Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren ticket would kind of be, it would be okay. Joe Biden is still a walking log, but Elizabeth Warren can add some fire to it. And with Elizabeth Warren on the ticket, she can sort of be that bridge that sort of gaps the radicals and the more moderates, because she is sort of a radical in her own sense, but I still don't think that she will win or Joe Biden will win, but we'll talk about that later. We are now going to talk about the results of Super Tuesday. Now, this was back when everyone was still in it, everyone was still alive in it, and maybe they were going to be winning. So we had 4 contestants in this. We had Joe Biden, we had Bernie Sanders, we had Mike Bloomberg, and then we had Pocahontas herself, Elizabeth Warren. We'll start with Super Tuesday talking about what states Michael Bloomberg won. Okay? Drumroll, please. American Samoa. That's right, Bloomberg wasted millions of dollars to win one territory and gain only 5 delegates. But remember, these are proportional. So let's look at some other states. And I mean, I just had to mention that first one because it's absolutely hilarious. People were saying that Mike Bloomberg could have just bought America Samoa. He didn't have to even run. He could have just bought it and said, America Samoa, you're mine now. So Joe Biden won a total of 9 states, which were Maine, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, and the most shocking one of all was Elizabeth Warren's home state of Massachusetts. So Bernie won 4 states, which were his home state of Vermont. He absolutely killed it in Vermont, Colorado, Utah, and California. Now you might be thinking, well, Biden won the night because he won more states than Bernie. However, there were 2 big prizes that the candidates had. Texas, which had 228 delegates, and California, which had 415 delegates. If either candidate did good in these states, they could run away with a big lead. So if Bernie gets 50% of the vote in Texas and in California, he's going away with a majority of those delegates, and those other little tiny states like Massachusetts and other ones don't count as much because the delegates are so small. You want to have the biggest amount of delegates that you can, and this led to some drama happening. Bernie won California, which is still tallying its votes, but as of right now, he won a total of 115 delegates from California, and that number could go up as there is still 73% reporting, because California has a lot of people, so they gotta, check and calculate all of the people and make sure everyone gets counted, even the illegals. Joe Biden came in second with 25.1%, and gained 93 delegates. You see how it's proportionally mixed up here? Bernie didn't win all 415 delegates, but he won 155. Bloomberg got 14 delegates, and Warren got 9. So even though Bernie lost more states, California was a big prize for him. He got a lot of delegates from that, and we will see later on if he is still in the lead or if he's now in second place. The second big prize was in Texas, where Bernie was leading by a sizable margin. But as the night went on, the lead got smaller and smaller and smaller until Joe Biden caught up to him. And this was a crazy thing. People were on Twitter. They were like, come on, Bernie, win Texas. Come on, Joe, win Texas. Everyone was freaking out about Texas. And it was like, who's going to win Texas? So this led it to be tied for a very, very long time until Biden snuck past Bernie and won 34.5% of the vote, winning 81 delegates, and Bernie winning 30% of the vote and gaining 72 delegates. Bloomberg got 5, and Warren got 1. So you can see that the proportions there of Bernie and Biden and Texas are very important, because if Biden would have absolutely swamped Bernie, then Biden would be up by way more. But because Bernie had more support in Texas for some reason, you see him winning 30% of the delegates, which is very interesting. I think their system of running elections is very interesting, and I think it's almost better because we saw with Donald Trump that he was winning states by 30%, getting all the delegates and running away. So I think it's almost a better plan that they're proportional, and it's almost like every single person can get enough delegates to win. That's just my opinion. So overall, it wasn't a runaway victory for either Bernie or Joe. They both did the way they expected. And Massachusetts was the only one that really shocked me personally, because I thought either Elizabeth Warren was going to win that one or Bernie was going to win that one because he's from Vermont. Vermont's right next door to Massachusetts, so I thought he would have some influence in there. However, the race is just starting to heat up, as the delegate count, as of right now, has Joe Biden in the lead with 566 delegates. Bernie has a total of 501. Warren has 61, and Bloomberg comes in with 53. As you can see, this is a two-man race. And man, I believe this one is going to be a death match. For a socialist versus someone who doesn't even know where they're at, this is going to be the best race of all time. This is going to be the best debate of all time. People are comparing Joe Biden and Bernie to those two old people that sit in the balcony during the Muppets and they yell at each other. You know, I remember the Muppets a little bit. I don't remember it a lot, but I think wiser people that listen to my podcast will know who that is, and I'll add a picture in there. Maybe some younger people might not know who those old people are in the balcony. You see, I don't even know what their names are. So after Super Tuesday and all the drama went down, all the excitement went down, both Elizabeth Warren, who I mentioned, dropped out, and we're not sure who she is going to support yet, which we talked about already. Along with that, millennials can breathe a sigh of relief, as Mike Bloomberg has dropped out, which means there are no more ads on YouTube or television and radio. He even was on the radio. How sad is that? He has now come out and supported Joe Biden, so we may get more Joe Biden commercials, which could be really exciting. I think Mike Bloomberg is going to use his money and make a bunch of Joe Biden isn't dead commercials and then send them out into the world and spread them, and it will be absolutely fantastic for the Joe Biden campaign. So, Super Tuesday has truly shown us a lot, and it has shown us that a lot of candidates can't stand the heat, especially when the Democratic establishment tells you to jump out. When they tell you to jump out, you jump out. We also learned that it is truly a two-man race, and it is time for the Democrats to pick who their nominee is going to be. Are you going to pick a 77-year-old who is running on the same ideas as Barack Obama, who can't seem to string a sentence together, and who doesn't even know what office he is running for? He doesn't even know where he is half the time. He's delusional. He babbles on and on about kids touching his leg hair. Or are you going to pick a self-known socialist who's going to try and change the fabric of America and is an absolute terrible candidate? If Bernie Sanders wins the nomination, the people on the down ballot are going to lose, okay? They're going to lose because people will just say, well, Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and then people won't vote Democratic. With these two men in the race, Biden and Bernie, the two in the running to win the nomination, we can see that they are both white, they are both old, they are both rich, and they are both males. Now, do we remember when the Democrats first started in 2020 and they said, oh my goodness, we're going to have a black candidate, we're going to have the most diversity, we're going to have the most women, we're going to get a women candidate, and we're finally going to make sure that we get the first female president. Finally, we're going to run off the coattails of Hillary Clinton, and we're going to get a woman in there, and it's going to be fantastic. Well, congratulations, you got a 77-year-old bumbling fool, and you got a 78-year-old commie. Congratulations, this is what you got. The Democrats had time to get this figured out. Now they're struggling. Now they're like, what are we going to do? And people on the news are going behind Joe Biden, but at the same time, recently Joe Biden just had a rally. He just had a rally and he spoke there for 7 minutes. And then they had to take him off the stage. Also, during Super Tuesday speech that he had, he mixed up his sister with his wife. Oh my goodness. Joe Biden is a mess. You know, I made that whole episode last week about his different gaffes that he's had. And then I come into this week and he has even more gaffes than he had in the last time. Joe Biden is absolutely done. Now, it is also interesting because if Bernie doesn't get the nomination, then the Bernie supporters are going to be mad. They're going to be ticked, and they're going to go absolutely nuts, which means that they might vote for Donald Trump. So please make sure that Biden wins, so then Bernie Bros might come over to our side. But Donald Trump has to appeal more to African Americans, because Joe Biden, as we saw in South Carolina, as we talked about last week, is very much popular in the African American community. So Donald Trump has to push for more African American votes in the Republican Party. Truly, I think that the debates between Trump and Bernie, or Trump and Biden, are going to be absolutely fantastic. I even think that the debates between Bernie and Joe Biden are going to be fantastic. And I'm excited to see that. I'm really, really, really excited to see that. And I think there's going to be a lot of screaming. There's going to be a lot of yelling. The race is just heating up. We're getting excited. So I want to thank you for listening to the Dockery Docket, and also for liking, subscribing, and reposting, and everything that you do. It seriously means a lot to me. You know, I see people posting my videos like my mom does, and people on Instagram do, and you know, it just makes me happy that people are enjoying our content. So make sure you go tell your friends about the Dockery Docket and all of the different things that we're doing, because this takes a lot of work and we're having a lot of fun, I believe. So until next week, at Tuesday at noonish, be good, be kind, be loving. Goodbye.